Welcome to what promises to be a very exciting and insightful session. We have a great set of panelists today, and the reason why I say that is because they come from different standpoints in the mobile app ecosystem. So when we talk about the theme today for this panel, which is App Everything, the future wave is coming, it's going to be interesting to see their perspectives. Now, from morning, I'm sure you've been hearing how the Indian mobile app ecosystem is one of the fastest growing in the world. Also, the most exciting part about it being that we have a huge untapped, unconnected audience. Right? So these are people who have never seen a cell phone or touched a computer, forget the internet. So as these people come online, what are they going to require? So the panel today is going to cover a few of these things. And without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce themselves and we'll get started. So, Govind, would you like to start?
Sure. Hello everyone, I'm Govind. I work for Branch in India. So Branch is a Palo Alto based company which provides free and open source deep linking technology. We work with about 12,000 partners across the world, including in India. India is our second biggest market. We have other offices in Europe. And yeah, excited to be part of this panel. Over to you.
Hello. Yeah, this is Sandesh Suvarna. So I represent Ionic here. Ionic is it's hybrid framework. Okay, so we are a US-based company. So we create hybrid apps. So rather than that, I myself a co-founder of an app called Tapad. And rather than that, recently I have built a $1.4 million app. Within 4 minutes. So more of a here, I'll be talking about how fastly you can build an app. Okay, so I'll be talking more about that. Yeah, over to.
Thanks. Hi everyone, my name is Sanjay. I represent AppsFlyer, as you know, the Mobile Attribution Authority. What AppsFlyer does is helps advertisers and marketers to make more sense on the investments they make in user acquisition, help them drive ROI. And as we go forward, we'll give you more insights about that. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sachin from Niki.ai. With Niki, we are actually building an AI-powered marketplace. It's a bot that you can chat with and order anything that you want.
Coming with a background from Latin America, you've seen how that works. Vis-a-vis the Latin American market, how do you see the Indian mobile app ecosystem right now?
See, I think at the economics of scale level, pretty much same, but I would say Latin America is still about 2 to 3 years behind where India is. Fundamentally, some of the key essential things that we kind of need to make note about India, and this is whatever research I did. On a 1.2 billion population, we have about 20-25% smartphone penetration. And with the entire digital ecosystem erupting up and the infrastructure being laid on that. So I think there's enough and more headroom available here in India to scale, which I think while the growth trajectory there is also in Latin America, but it's kind of plateauing out, but there's still so much more available here in India. Some of the key pointers, if you look at, I was just reading a study from eMarketer, which pegs e-commerce at about $80 billion in 2020, which is about 33% CAGR. By the way, Bank of America is pegging it at $1.2 billion. So there's so much more growth, on that. Or if you look at travel, which is about going to be about $18 billion by 2020. So overall, the ecosystem, the projection for the mobile marketing per se standpoint is pretty solid here. I think we're going to have the digital display spend, if you look at that. That by far, in 2014 was about $259 million. And if I'm not wrong, it's going to be 1.6 billion, which is close to 5 times, right, in 2020. So I think the infrastructure, is getting laid on that level. And a lot of companies are coming and solving the key critical problems, whether it's e-commerce, travel, hyperlocal, or stuff like that. So I think there's enough and more headroom for the companies to kick in and play and work on that.
Govind, you've been speaking with a lot of developers in India. What is your perspective? Do you concur with Sanjay?
So in my experience in India, at least, so there are two things to look at it, right? One is developers and marketers from companies which has huge pockets, and developers and marketers from companies who are still starting up and have no money to spill on in terms of growing their apps. Developers with a lot of money usually go the cashback way or the referral way, or the ad way to make sure that their app is growing, and then focus more on retention and engaging their users. And so the problem is with the struggle for the developers who don't have money, right? So in India, that's where, from Branch perspective, we wanted to be in India, and we want to help these developers in terms of growing their apps in the most organic way through deep linking, or even if not deep linking, through our community, various tools that we promote through the community. Yeah. So in the nutshell, the perspective is it's completely segregated into two different parts. One is the companies with a lot of money who are pumping money to grow their users, to grow the number of their users, and those struggling developers. So the larger vision for me is I can only see these two parts from the 50,000 feet level.
Okay. How would you rate or how would you segregate the market in percentage terms? Say, for example, how fast are the developers without money growing, or what are they looking at doing? Because one of the important components of an ecosystem is where people can develop an app and try to take it to the audience at the least possible price while getting a lot of traction. So how are these people able to do it right now?
Very less, I would say. There are very few apps which are successful in the organic way, but still things are catching up with different tools in the market, which are open source or even which are premium, but are really good for apps, helping them to grow. But the majority of the percentage is taken by the apps with money, because that's where, in a very fundamental level, mobile has come at a very fast pace to India. I mean, before we even understood, things have taken shape, and we have more mobile internet users now. The market is, the mobile device fragmentation is crazy in India. So because of that, what happened was the developers couldn't understand exactly as to what is the way to go. So the only way that that people looked at is putting in a lot of money there through cashbacks or referrals. If you have seen the past two years have been crazy for a lot of companies in terms of referrals. So now it has slowed down. Now things have got realized. But whereas in the US, if you see, it's pretty balanced. I mean, it's still majority, but it's a little balanced. But in India, I think in the coming years, we'll learn that fact, yeah.
Sachin, you have an app which you've been able to grow organically. What has been your experience, and how do you look at the ecosystem right now?
I think, so if you look at most adoption of the apps currently, most of the apps have not grown organically, and they have been either through paid marketing or through referral marketing, or by sort of promoting it across different app platforms. But to really sort of grow an app organically, I think majorly what the founders need are, they need a more social approach to the app. If you look at the global traction across different countries, most of the apps have grown at a fast pace organically, only if they were social. Unless it's a very utilitarian app. It's a Google search, which everyone knows. But social is a great way to sort of grow an app organically. People should look at exploring how you can embed social experiences across utilities, commerce, shopping, or lifestyle, or different apps as such. That is a short way to grow organically.
So you found that you've tried these methods yourself?
Yes, I think so. In terms of word of mouth growth, most of the growth that we've seen today is not is at least in Nikki, we've seen close to 15% organic and 62.5% word of mouth growth. And that's not norm in India, we know that, but it's been because we've been patient with the app experience, with the growth, and yeah.
Okay. It's interesting to know. So would you say that the winds are changing in a way? because now the growth is coming from a different kind of perspective, as Govind has mentioned. You need not always have a lot of money to grow your app. So would you agree with that point?
Absolutely. If let's say Facebook had to spend $1 for every user that they acquire, they would spend $1 billion just for acquiring the users, right? So of course, that's not a scalable way to grow. If you really have to sort of build the business, you should add utility, you should add value for users.
Can I add something on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, the biggest thing in the app space is more like a referral thing. So, for example, the referral market, the Hotmail they have done. That was the first of a thing on the market. Hotmail, what they have done is it's more like a free way of getting more users. They've just added one baseline at each email whoever sent. It's more like sent from Hotmail. So that is more like a organic growth they're getting for free of money from each and every users. So add on to what he has said, this is one more point I just want to add.
I mean, if I add the point here, the stickiness and the problem that you're solving is core, right? So I think one of the things that we need to identify is the discovery piece, right? So if there's an app which is essentially solving a problem, how user-friendly it is, and how a user can kind of discover what he's going to do, going to get out of the app. Now that being said, it's very subjective to the app dynamic, and so whether the paid will work or organic will work. But fundamentally, what I believe is that it's not a matter of time. It's not a matter of if you have to go on the paid channel for having a great scale. It's a matter of when you need to go. And whenever you go there, one of the key essential point is whether you are having great insights to the spend, right? You might spend $1 million or $500,000, but whether you're having great insights onto that, whether every dollar that you're spending is being spent well. You might be running campaigns across various media sources, and everybody comes and says that, hey, my performance is great. But unless you have a third-party, unbiased attribution platform to identify where the scale is, I think it's very, very difficult to kind of make decision and then scale.
I think these are interesting points. Now, as we go into the next generation of apps which are going to solve challenges for the unconnected millions who are going to come online, as an app developer, what are the challenges that you think someone should be aware of, and how would they be tackling those challenges? Because in a way, what has happened is a lot of what we have achieved has been modeled on other ecosystems, right? But as we go forward, as we localize the problems and solve them, what are the things in the Indian context would you think are the challenges and therefore the solutions for those challenges? Govind, would you like to?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I think the biggest point over here would be the market research for sure, because as you rightly said, we've always followed what the West has done, and even in terms of entrepreneurial ideas that we have taken from them. So as we localize more and as we go into the future generation, as more technologies come into picture, I think it all depends on how well we understand the market in India, and how well we use the technologies to leverage that, and most importantly, how do we grow that particular, if you're talking about AppSense, how do we grow that app in a very balanced way, spending money at the same time, making sure that it's going viral in terms of organic way. Yeah.
Sachin, how would you look at, because now your app is sort of aggregating a lot of these other apps, how would you look at the future right now?
So I think I would say that the app world, particularly in a mobile ecosystem, has a certain set of issues which some people are tackling in different people are sort of tackling in different ways. The major issues are around delivery and discovery of those apps, not just apps, but essentially contents. So if you're looking to sort of discover the right content, how do you do that in a app-centric ecosystem is one challenge. And of course, delivering the app to the users is another challenge, because go and ask a user to sort of install yet another app, you'll see the reaction on their face. So I think in terms of where the future is sort of heading towards, there are a couple of interesting technology advancements that we should sort of consider. The first is the an interesting play by Google, wherein they are trying to look at web-based, powering web-based Chrome with push notifications and similar performance enhancements that were otherwise available only on mobile. So now Google Chrome can, on mobile, can actually send you push notifications. It can track your location. So most of the native performance features are already available. In terms of native apps, moving away from native apps, there is an instant apps which Google is sort of promoting, which which has a lot of promise, except that it doesn't yet have the performance, and it is still to be observed in terms of how it is going to sort of go towards. There is another interesting development which you might have noticed so far. Facebook has opened up their bot store, and now they are sort of embedding micro apps into a messaging platform. So you don't really have to pay a lot of advertisement dollars to sort of install, make a user use your brand experience. There is micro apps across WeChat, wherein they are just enabling button-based, UX-based interactions, and Facebook is sort of pumping in bot-based interaction. There is another interesting angle which is being promoted by Apple and Amazon and the likes, wherein they are trying to use the personal assistants and sort of deep linking to other brands. And think about it, you can actually sort of hail a Siri or an Alexa and sort of book a cab and sort of power those micro interactions through different apps. So yeah, for the next generation of mobile developers, I would say, apart from apps, there are also an N number of technology developments that are coming along which you can keep note of.
So could we say that you don't necessarily have to build a standalone app to deliver your business?
Of course not. I mean,
Yeah, that is why.
Yeah.
Sorry, please go.
Okay, so that is why so the Ionic is more like we have a hybrid app. So one code base will work on everything. It works on Android, it works on iOS, it works on Windows, and even it can be even a web. So one code base the developers need not to build a native apps, need not to build apps for each and every platforms. So one code base will work on everything, and that to the performance currently is quite a good. It's almost similar to the native apps. So more like that, yeah.
So my question was specifically about instead of building an app itself, could you piggyback on some other app which already has attraction, which already has an installed user base?
Yeah, so just to add to that, I think most of the users today gravitate towards messaging applications, social messaging applications. So if those platforms are opening up, that's a great opportunity for app developers or mobile interaction developers, I would say. They can definitely look at integrating with one of such platforms where most users' attentions are already sort of tapped into.
Sanjay, I feel like you want to...
Yeah, so I think your first question was the problems that developers need to kind of be cognizant of, and then the crystal ball gazing about what will happen in future. I mean, we can take our own guesses. I think I would want to wait for a day wherein I say, hey Siri, it's my wife's birthday, can you get me a best deal on Louis Vuitton bag or something like that? And then that does the discovery across all. So fundamentally, I believe that maybe the consolidation is bound to happen, right? We have seen it in all geographies across all industries. But then those apps will exist, discovery should become a little easier. But the fundamental and very important question that you asked is, what are the challenges? And more I speak with customers based in India or whether it was in Latin America. I think whether it's irrespective of an evolved customer or somebody who's just starting up, some of the problems that we know, retention rate, uninstalls, the amount of money they spend, it all boils down to, do I have enough insights to identify that, okay, I'm making more use of my customer base and I'm kind of, getting better revenues, ROI out of them, and the money that I'm spending is being spent well. And the clear-cut big answer is to kind of trust on the best in the business, right? And that goes for all of us, right? Whether you pick up a pen or your car or anything else, you just want to take, as they say, in God we trust, for everything else we need data, right? So you need to trust on that data, and that data is sacrosanct. So in order to be there, you got to kind of, for example, at AppsFlyer, what we do is, we believe fundamentally in customer success, and we provide them complete, unbiased third-party, data analysis on that amount of money spent, not only in terms of attributing the installs, but in terms of LTV that they will see across, in the lifetime of the user, and they can slice and dice the data into various forms to kind of have more insights of that particular user.
All right. Did you have something to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. So I think looking forward, an important thing to keep in mind is the potential exists. We just have to understand how and the best way to deliver a solution for those challenges that are going to be surfaced as more and more people are coming online. If there are any questions, should we take some from the audience?
Possibly one bonus question. You had something this time? No. Questions open on the floor?
Hi. Well, sorry, this is Swaraj here. I'm from the media. I just want to know about a few things on the futuristic development that we are talking about, or apps being the main, platform. We are all talking about, various ways or various different apps that are going to be used by the consumer. But the consumer at this particular point in time is not somebody who wants to download an app and go through the entire process just for one or two instances of that particular usage of that particular app. And that makes it very difficult for people to go and give every app wants your data, you give your data to everybody. It starts becoming it starts becoming like everybody who gives out the data is a lead. Now that kind of is not really something that any app vendor or any app manufacturer would want. What is that you could take, or how can you make the customer's life simpler and at the same time make the app developers or the app marketers' life simple by taking least amount of data?
I think one of the things is the tools. Sorry, did you have a follow-on?
Yeah, no. So least amount of data and not intruding too much into the customers' lives.
So one of the things is the new set of tools that are coming up. They enable, such as instant apps and all of these, they enable app-less experiences. Would someone like to take a stab at this one? A developer perspective?
Sure. Yeah. So I think, so in terms of developing a new app, the first challenge, of course, is making sure that each of your deployments are bug-free and all of that. So majorly, if you have to address, as a developer, if you have to build an app and still get access to a captive audience, you could sort of make use of the existing platforms, such as Messenger SDK is one existing platform that you can use to integrate. In terms of if you sort of get the user adopted to those platforms, or if these platforms actually become the standard, they don't really get access to your data in terms of your location, in terms of your SMS and all that details. So most of these apps do not take access to that data. So you can leverage those platforms. I'm not sure if I addressed that correctly. If you look at existing messaging based platforms, there all you do is just send a text, and that's it. Which means that most of the app-based offline data sync that happens do not happen in a messaging application. So that's why I largely think that this is the next wave.
All right, I think we'll have to wrap up. Thank you, panelists, for your time. And we're all here till the end of the day, so if there are any questions, I guess we could connect offline. All right? Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Please spread a book up.